Mr. Al Assad, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure being here.
So, your impressions right now of what your cousin is doing to the Syrian people?
I mean, I'm against, of course, everything that he has done. I'm against, because we were with a peaceful uprising. I've been working for democracy and freedom long before the Arab Spring, and I think that this shouldn't have gone the way it has gone today.
There are people calling him a murderer, saying that one opposition group says more than 100,000 people have died during the violence of the last few years. Do you think your cousin is a murderer?
I think that the responsibility lies on both the regime and the opposition. This uprising should have stayed peaceful. Unfortunately, both the regime and this opposition, the armed opposition, have committed a lot of murders. And as we have seen, 100,000 people have died, over 1.5 million refugees, and 4.5 million internally displaced. But we have also to look at the fact that also 45,000 of those people have died are also members of the security services. So it shows you that there's huge numbers of killings.
There is a report out there from the Wall Street Journal saying that the U.S. government may begin next month to arm small vetted groups of rebels. You think that's a bad idea? And there are no rebel groups that you think should be armed?
I think it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous because we wouldn't know who to be arming. If we look at the Supreme Military Council of the Free Syrian Army, it's made up only of Salafi groups like Sukur al-Sham, Al-Tawhid Brigade,
extremist groups,
all extremist groups, Salafi groups. So it's very dangerous.
Are you equating what the rebels have done in terms of murders with what the regime has done? Are you saying that they have killed roughly the same amount of people? Because independent groups suggest that that's not the case, that your cousin is actually responsible for most of the deaths.
Today, really, it's not anymore who killed more. The responsibility of all, because we shouldn't, if one side killed 90%, or it doesn't matter. The regime, of course, is responsible because they have chosen that way. They have chosen to respond to those peaceful protests with force. And this was the biggest mistake they could have done, and they are responsible for that. But at the same time, I think the opposition shouldn't have gone that way. They should have kept the uprising peaceful, and this would have, of course, the regime couldn't have stayed until now. They couldn't have even stayed for 4 or 5 months.
Is there an outcome, a political outcome, that is done the way you want, that doesn't end with Bashar al Assad in charge? It seems to me like he is not going to relinquish power unless it's forcefully.
He has to go. It's very important to know that Bashar al Assad sooner or later will have to go. But we have to see what is the best way and the most peaceful way to make him go.
But why would he go? He's winning.
I mean, he's winning the fight, but he's not winning politically. There's a peaceful majority now in Syria. We have to see and ask what those people want. Until now, there's not a viable alternative. Those peaceful people in Syria need to see that there's a viable alternative, that there's a democratic opposition that really represent them, and this is where the United States should take the lead and not leave it to other countries such as Qatar and Saudi Arabia, who are not democratic themselves. The United States should bring all opposition groups, democratic groups, together and to commit to respect our values, the universal values of human rights, of women's rights, of equality of all religions and ethnic groups and sects under the rule of law. This is the most important.
All right, Ribal Al Assad, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a great pleasure.